Welcome everyone. Another Facebook Live Q&A. Alrighty, so this week I didn't have any earlier questions submitted. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of discuss as we start closing out 2024, rolling into New Year's in just a couple weeks, everyone's going to start thinking about goals, what they want to accomplish, what they're going to do. And some of the big things that I want you to work on and be mindful of when you're setting these goals up for yourself, from a mindset standpoint, is wording them and putting them in a way that you can be successful. Don't make them wish statements. Don't make them say, "Oh, only if only I could do this." Really sit down with yourself, sit and identify, if I want to be here, what do I need to do to make that happen? It's the planning and the process preparation that really makes the difference on the outcomes of those goals. So rather than just setting, big lofty outcomes for ourselves, but not really kind of getting into the, how am I going to implement this? It is what gets a lot of people frustrated and ultimately unsuccessful with their New Year's resolutions. So when you're sitting down with these goals, obviously everyone has the big goal that they want to accomplish, but you got to take some time and identify what are the incremental goals that are going to get you there. What are the processes that you're not currently doing either enough of, not at all? Are there things that you're doing that are going to inhibit your ability to accomplish that goal that you need to reduce or eliminate? And by identifying these other elements to get to that goal, you can start creating a more of a step-by-step process for yourself on what it's ultimately going to take to see that outcome actually happen. So for example, for a lot of people who want to lose weight, or some sort of fitness goal, maybe there's a race or obstacle course challenge that they want to do. You have that outcome. Now you have to decide, okay, how am I going to get there? If you're not doing anything currently, you can't just immediately start doing 3 to 5 days a week of workouts, because most people don't have that time to just pull immediately out of nowhere, and you'll end up getting frustrated and defeated rather than successful. So identify how much can you start with on week one, what can you build with week 2, 3, 4, and so on, to be at a point that you can successfully have that outcome, whether it be a fitness event or just a simple weight loss goal. The processes and the steps that you can change to get there are the more important part of your goal setting than just simply setting that outcome goal. Because everyone is probably heard of, SMART goals, where, specific, measurable, is it attainable, is it reachable, time based. You can set those as outcome goals, but have no real plan on how you're going to get there still. So SMART goals are good. They help us kind of really define and narrow what that goal is going to look like for us, but we still have to create the plan of what it's going to take to see that outcome happen. And that's one of the things that I see for most people, why that goal never ends up coming along for them. So you have to look at, again, what things are you not currently doing that you need to do and implement to see that goal. And on the flip side of that, sometimes you have to identify what things am I currently doing that are going to continue to inhibit me from seeing that outcome. For example, with weight loss, maybe I'm consuming too much soda or too much desserts, other snacks, and that may be something that, if I'm going to be adding in more protein, more vegetables, and higher fiber and less processed foods that I may have to look at reducing in order to still see that weight loss goal come about. Um, both both parts are important because sometimes there's things that we're doing that are going to make it harder to get there, and we need to understand and plan for that. Maybe I don't want to give up my afternoon soda because I've had clients that are like, I'm not doing it, John, it's just not going to happen. You have to plan around that, which means now we've got to give a little bit more in this area, or we have to put out more in other areas for our activity. So it's important to have those plans, because otherwise, if you can't identify the steps that you're going to take towards that goal, it's easy to get lost and stuck in the murk of frustrations, temptations, obstacles, and challenges. So whereas if you have the plan, it's easy to identify either what you are doing or what you aren't doing that are helping you get there. And then that way, if you feel stuck, it's easier to assess, okay, I feel like I'm not making progress. What am I doing? Have I accomplished what I set out to do to add? Have I eliminated the things that I knew were going to inhibit my progress? Has something new developed that I wasn't aware of when I set this plan forward? And it becomes easier to adapt and adjust rather than feel frustrated, not know why you're not seeing progress. Something new comes into place, and now it's one more thing you've got to battle and be frustrated with when you're already kind of feeling overwhelmed with the changes that you're trying to make, but feel like they're not getting you anywhere. Especially if you're kind of over pushing what's realistic for you to actually achieve with it. And that's why I say it's important to identify those steps. So you can have a goal that you followed the SMART system, and yes, it's reachable, it's attainable, it's realistic, but to get there, you said, I'm going to go from not working out at all to working out 5 days a week for an hour. Well, that means you've got to find 5 hours a week to give to exercise that you weren't already doing. 5 hours is a lot of time for most adults that I know, because you're already busy. That's what got you in trouble, and the reason why you need to lose weight in the first place is because you weren't doing the things because your time was committed somewhere else. So trying to find 5 new hours to commit to something different can be a very daunting task and lead to a lot of continuous defeatism because you feel like you're not succeeding. Whereas if you had just said, hey, I'm going to start with twice a week, 15, 30 minutes, that's easier to start fitting in, start scheduling. You can move some things around. Maybe you compress, maybe you eliminate some things that you could do less of with your time to make time for that workout. And as you are successful with that first step, then we can say, okay, let's add a third day, or let's extend how long these 2 workout sessions are, since I'm already making them happen. And it's easier to build that way, rather than go from 0 to 60 straight out of the gate in that first week and wonder why you're not at 60, you're stuck at 20 miles an hour. Just some things that I've kind of seen and noticed in 2 decades of helping and coaching people on their fitness journeys with these types of goals. It's the planning, preparation, and tracking that really makes the difference. So as you're setting these goals up for yourself for the new year, be mindful of not just the outcome goal, but start setting some planning and prep work into what steps is it going to take to get there. And if you're having a struggle and a challenge on putting that part into play, that's what we're here for. Reach out, let us help you. Let's help you get on track. At minimum, let's set up a phone call and help make sure that you are set up in the right spot. And if that's all you need, that's all you need. If you need more, we can always have a discussion about what that would look like too. But don't run into your New Year's resolution goals completely blind and unprepared on what it is going to take to see those outcome goals come about. So you got to have process goals along with the outcome goals to be successful. Hope that's helpful for everyone. If you do have questions, feel free to throw them in the comment. We'll follow up with them next week or the week after, depending. I haven't decided when we're doing some of these live sessions with the holidays the next 2 weeks. So hope everyone has a great week, and remember to stay persistent in your consistent pursuit of health.